Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dan Dawson Show. So, I suppose you're wondering, why is Dan so happy? I wrote down a few notes here. So, to let you know how I do my show, I just log on and I start talking about what I want to talk about. There's, I don't do any writing, I don't do any show notes. I want it to be authentic. This is what Dan is really thinking. So, let's get started. It's been a long week, right? So, four things I want to hit on: the Tacoma cop that ran through a crowd, oil and energy. Oh, that's going to be lively. Hedge funds. And we're back in Syria. Yay! So, first, let's start off by talking about the Tacoma cop. And all you see in the headlines is he ran through the crowd. I've seen the videos. I understand Tacoma is my neighboring city. And his vehicle was surrounded. They're beating on his vehicle. Broke a window out. He felt his life was in danger. And if you remember, in Seattle, they Molotoved a cop car while two cops were in it. And luckily, there were two. Because usually our cops up here roll singly. And one cop per vehicle. But the one, I guess something happened. He got hit or he was disorientated or something. And his partner actually pulled him out. And the car burnt to a husk. If he was in that car by himself, he would have died. And this cop, 30-year veteran, Asian guy, right, felt his life was in danger, and he was right. And then I'm watching one of these idiots on Como, one of the guys that got ran over with his gold teeth. And I have nothing against gold teeth. Hell, I want gold teeth. Actually, I want platinum and diamond teeth. If I can get platinum and diamond teeth, then Dan doesn't have to work anymore. As it is. But he said, no, usually when cops show up at the street races, we surround them, beat on their car, and they just leave. Think about the audacity, about the privilege that you have in going on the news, going on a news station during an interview, and then to say that. We're doing all this illegal shit in the streets. When the cops show up, we run them off. Do you not watch the very news station you were on? Do you not understand what's happening around you? Ridiculous. Then he goes, well, I'm a barber and I can hardly stand up for 10 minutes. Well, it's only been a week. Give it a few months. But you know what? Bottom line is you should be charged. You should be charged with assault on a police officer. So you shouldn't be on the news. You should be in prison. That's another thing. I know I'm going to go off this Tacoma cop thing for a second. But it's like, man, why are they releasing all these damn criminals? It's going to get to a point, if they keep doing it, to where the average citizen, in fear of their own safety, is going to have to take matters into their own hands. But see, that takes you to the national thing, right? Where they don't want you to be able to take the law in your own hands, because if you're a law-abiding citizen, they're doing everything they can to take away your gun rights. Everything. And I'll have a video on the Second Amendment. I'm going to try to keep my Second Amendment stuff to Dawson Defense LLC Facebook page. And there's only a couple of videos up there, so don't rush to it or anything. And I'll update you more as I get that going. Maybe a YouTube channel just on that, where I'll get with Kelly from Cushman Tactical. We'll talk about different guns, different tactics, different defense stuff. So hopefully that comes forward in the future. But yeah, to me, the cop was dead in the right. And here's my validation for that, is I had some of my liberal friends talking on the phone saying, hey, no, you're a dumbass if you're standing in front of a cop car beating on it while you're doing illegal shit. It's like, come on, cut it out. So, to me, the cop was exactly right and did what he should do. Tacoma PD reviewed the videos and came out in support of this police officer. 30 years. I mean, hey, bless it to him, because there's no way in hell you can pay me to be a cop. So if you're a cop out there and you back the blue, I back the blue. But I wouldn't be a cop. I mean, because those guys, if you do everything right, you're still the villain. You know, it's ridiculous. Think about how far society has fallen when that's the case. The person coming to save you is the villain now. So, hey, Alrighty, so let's move on to oil and energy. So, here's what's been going on in Dan's world. I have friends, cousins. Just keep in mind, I come from Texas. Either they or their husbands work and depend on the oil field. So when Biden shut down the Keystone pipeline, said no new fracking, and even though he said he's going to allow the permits that are already in, understand he suspended those permits, a lot of them lost their jobs. Well, now I know what the average American's thinking. He said he was going to do it. Well, he kind of did. But remember, on stage, Trump called him out on it. And the country didn't move. And all you had was these people, black women, pretty much, with their t-shirts that said Chucks and Pearls. Because you've been living high on the hog. Because Kamala Harris, the first black woman vice president, she's not black. She doesn't belong to the culture. And understand, when I say the culture, I mean, if you can't even tell me when Tupac made his first album, you don't belong to the culture. It just is. It is what it is. You can't say you were listening to Tupac in '89 and his first album, he wasn't even on a guest appearance till '91. And that was with Digital Underground. So you can't tell me that. You were smoking weed listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg. But see, we get so wrapped up in the emotion of it all. We don't bother to fact check. And you didn't bother to fact check. So I tell you what, I hope you did not, if your husband works in the oil field. And so understand, when I say that, you got to look at where they live. Texas, all these other little towns, right? Where their husbands are making $100,000, $150,000 a year. Where your average mortgage is $800. Where your average price of a new car is $20,000 to $35,000. Where your average grocery bill for the month, if you have 3 kids, is about $300. So they were living high on the hog. But see, here's what us descendants of slaves know, right? You better learn to live low on that hog, because you're not always going to live high on it. And you voted yourself into it. Because even when I was on Facebook trying to tell them, Biden is going to destroy your life, I got castigated. No, 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 and blah, 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 and Trump is racist, even though Biden has said racist stuff. Kamala Harris has locked up more black men than, Jesus Christ, name a slave owner. But you still went for your Chucks and Pearls. So people like that, hey, if you work in the oil field and understand how the oil fields work, I don't care what job you work in Texas, all you Californians that move down there and work in tech, and you're sitting behind your little computer desk, and you're a vegetarian and you hate cattle, and you want electric cars, so you hate oil and gas. Understand, you know what it's taking to power that office? Oil and gas. You know what it's taking to power that economy? So you get customers? The cattle ranchers, the farmers. That's what Texas is. So understand that before you move down there with your bullshit California ideas. And then my people who grew up in Texas and know that's what Texas is about. Who've castrated pigs and sheep with me. Who've sheared sheep. Who've slaughtered cattle. Who've slaughtered pigs. And understand what it's about. They come down here with their smooth talking and then you get on it. Next thing I look up, you're wearing a fake ass set of pearls. And you're not even wearing Chucks. So, but you got your little shirt that says Chucks and Pearls. You've been hornswoggled. You've been hornswoggled. And I've talked to a few of my conservative friends and they're all out of sorts. But if you're a conservative, a Trump supporter like me, and you're out of sorts, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. As long as your bills are paid, as long as your finances are okay, look out for you. And then you get to tell them, I told you so. Because now I can see them looking, complaining on Facebook. And I just put a little laughing emoji. Like I told you so. The man you're calling racist did more for black people in 4 years than the Democrat Party has done in 40. But you didn't appreciate it. You couldn't look past your emotions. Trump is racist. I still see it now on Facebook. People are still blaming Trump. Oh, Trump this and Trump that. Trump's been out of office since the beginning of January. You're a stalker. You're a Trump stalker. You have Trump derangement syndrome, and you can't function any other way. You're very one level. You probably shouldn't even vote anymore. You turn in your voter registration card. Just cut it up, throw it in the trash. Because you're not high information enough to vote. And in these days and times, there's no reason, if you're going to vote, not to be high information. Because I can go on my little smartphone right here and Google anything I need to know before I give my opinion or place a vote on something. And your vote is your biggest opinion. Nope, not going to do that. Okay, so let's talk about hedge funds. Hold up. Jack Daniels, because I'm here for the people of Tennessee. You're welcome. So, I always talk about investing, right? I tell you, you should invest in stocks that have been around for a while. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving you financial advice. But if you want financial advice, call my boy Charlie at Edward Jones. Damn, I don't have his card in front of me. And he's done really good. He's doubled my money, so I have no complaints. But get you somebody who knows how to handle finances. But so what the hedge funds would do is do short calls. That's like, hey, Dan has 10 shares of, let's just name a company off the top of my head, GameStop. You call me up, hey, Dan, let me borrow those 10 shares. And I'm going to pay you this price to borrow them. And then I'll pay you back for the price of the stock in 30 days. Well, they're betting on that stock's going to go from $10 to $1. So now you've paid me $2 a share. The stock goes down to $1. You pay me back that $1. You've made $6. Only we're not talking about $6. We're talking about millions of dollars. And so what the Reddit users decided to do was, hey, let's all invest in these stocks that hedge funds are shortchanging. And let's elevate the price. And they did. And hedge funds on one day, because all those calls came due. So understand, you can't just say, well, Dan, I'll pay you that $1 next week. So if it goes from 10 to 1, like 30 days, this is when you got to pay it back on that day at that closing time. So instead of that stock going from literally $17 to $1, it went from $17 to, I think it topped out at $700 a share. And hedge funds lost $70 billion. Victory for the small guy. Of course, Dianne Feinstein came out against it. I don't think somebody who's been caught doing insider trading, remember at the beginning of last year, when she knew this coronavirus was going to hit, she dumped all her stocks, made a lot of money, and invested in stuff that was going to, produce vaccines and stuff, right? She made a lot of money, a lot. She's come out saying, we got to stop the small people from doing stuff like this. You probably should shut up and just duck your head and finish with your last session in Congress and be quiet, honestly. Also, on a funny note, people got mad at me for saying this when Biden was elected. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to start bombing brown people again. I said we're going back to Syria, we're going back to Afghanistan, because that's how the big machine works. They want that oil in Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq. Which might explain why they want to shut down the Keystone Pipeline. And guess what? We're back in Syria already. Biden hasn't even been president for a month. We already got boots on the ground. Guess where we're going next? So the Chucks and Pearls women, the Trump stalkers, guess what? Not only did you give up that comfy life, if your kid's in the military, your vote, because you're so emotional and so low information, just place them directly in danger. So when those caskets start coming home again with the American flag on them, you have no one to blame but yourself. Ridiculous. Alrighty. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. Conservatives, rejoice. Be happy. Hey, be happy. If your bills are paid, and your family's okay, and you're keeping afloat, be happy. Something else about the oil and energy. Let me go back because I missed this. I was watching Waters World, right? And Jesse Waters was asking these two dudes who lost their jobs, who'd your union leaders tell you to vote for? And they jumped around that question. One said, well, most of our union leaders are mostly conservative. That didn't answer the question. The other one goes, well, most of the people in my job site are conservative. No, you caused this yourself. Don't go on national news whining and complaining when your vote, your union leadership cost you this. Ridiculous. And there's a whole lot of stuff. I could have went into the teachers unions and all that stuff. Maybe I'll save that for next week or tomorrow. I don't know. But thank you for watching this episode of the Dan Dawson Show. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of your family, buy a gun, mind your business, defend your family. So, like, subscribe, share. Remember, do what you gotta do.